Drew and I would like to, we're glad you came. Drew's from in Nashville today. I don't think you realize. We're going to have company. My name's Lynn. I've been with Drew for 14 years. Drew's been doing stained and bevel glass for about 17 or 18 years. He's pretty much self-taught. He took an 8-hour class and then just kind of taught himself. He is an artist, so that kind of helped with the drawing and stuff. They've been up here, they moved up here from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I think it's been about 17 or 18 years ago. We work mostly with flat glass as opposed to the big Tiffany lamps that you see. It's a whole different process. Where this is flat work, those have molds and you pin your glass to the mold and stuff. We use the copper foil method, which is the method Tiffany used, which is after our glass is cut, every piece is wrapped in copper foil tape. And I have tape of all different sizes. Is anybody taking?
No.
Nobody's doing glass? Okay.
Not this time.
After your piece is cut, it's wrapped in a copper foil tape. It's copper that's very thin, has an adhesive on the other side. And what we do is just kind of lay it on, try to get it even on both sides, press it down. Then I have a fid that after I put the foil all around the glass, I press really hard. You want to get the air and get it down flat so dust can't get in. This is your medium that's going to hold the solder to the glass. Solder does not stick to glass. It needs another metal. And after I get a window all the way foiled, we spray it with a chemical flux, which helps the bonding of the two metals. We use 200-watt irons, hand irons. You're fine. I can reach one. I cleaned. I'll probably will not be able to find anything. This is my. Drew's is probably 250, and his is quite a bit heavier. And that's icky. There's another pound over there. Here we go. I was just going to show what the side looks like. And just comes on, well, we've got this icky too. Just comes on spools. This turns this into like a syrupy liquid. And you just flow it right along your lines. It will go down in between each piece of glass, and then you'll form a bead on top. When you have one side done, we take the pins or the metal frame away from the glass, flip the glass over, and you'll solder the other side. And that forms a permanent beam or channel around every piece of glass. Now the difference between this and lead glass, because a lot of people like to work in lead. I really did clean. Lead has channels. And what you do is with your lead, you slide this into the channel, and then you would bend your lead around there, and then your next piece would slide into this channel. And then with lead, you solder each of the joints. After a piece is leaded, it needs to be glazed because it's loose, because the thickness of the different glasses. We like this method better because we think it's stronger and we don't have to glaze. With a leaded window, especially a large one like in churches, you need to go back and probably reglaze every 10 years or so. And that's why you see in old churches a lot of the lead glass, the pieces of glass falling out, needed to be reglazed. Now, I'm sure people doing lead will tell you the disadvantages to ours, but this is the method we use and we like. When we get started, if you want to hand me that paper right there with the, since none of your, have any of you done this as a hobby? Okay, then I'll show you a little bit. This is a light box, and it helps us see. It helps us see through our patterns, because we do use a lot of clear glass, but we also use a lot of color. Well, you can see the egret behind you and the cattails and the flower. They're real hard to see through. So with the light box, you lay your pattern down on your light box, your piece of glass on top. You draw the pattern piece you're going to cut. We'll just kind of, and then, what did he say last time we bought? Tungsten. Thank you.
Steel. Tungsten.
And you score it. You really don't cut glass. You score glass, and then you just snap it. And we can do curves or straight lines. And then you get, and that's how you get your. No, I'm not really following that line. It's not that good.
No, it took me 3 window panes one time to put one in. Because it didn't ring where it scored it.
But I've got 14 years on you, maybe.
Well,
That'll do it.
And then we use these grinders, and they've got water in them, and these are diamond embedded wheels. And we just follow around a piece of glass. Wonderful thing about a grinder is that the person who foils, which is always me, doesn't cut their hands. It takes the sharp.
When do you use the diamond bandsaw?
I don't use it very often. If you have a really, really hard piece to cut,
Yeah, well, a real tight curve.
really tight curve. There's a bigger one in the other room. We actually use it more often because we cut Coke bottles in half.
I think he said that you use it when they're doing like faces to get the details.
Yeah, sometimes we do faces. And then on the grinders, now I really like my grinder better than a saw. On the grinders you can take off different wheels. They are, some are fine for glass that chips really easy, and some are coarse, and they come in all different sizes, and I like to put this one on and just grind away until I get her face right. It's a little more forgiving. We also do hand beveling, although the bevels that you see in here right now are machine beveled, and we have bought them. Hand beveling gets really expensive real fast. We use 1/4-inch plate glass and cut the pieces out, and Drew bevels them. It probably takes him, on a good day, an hour to do 14 linear inches. So when you wonder why one bevel window is so much more than another, it has hours of handwork in it. And these are just as good, especially for the simpler things. We hand bevel seashells. One of my favorite was shocks of wheat. He's done some birds, some blue herons and egrets. We've done a swan. They're really pretty, and I believe we've got a piece up at the gallery, and it's beveled.
What's the machine that does that?
It'll be in the next room.
Oh,
When we go through, you'll see it. It's got 4 wheels. One is a diamond wheel, and it's the one that cuts the glass down and puts that edge on. And then there's a stone wheel that takes out the scratches the diamond wheel puts in. Then there's a fiber wheel which takes out the scratches the stone wheel puts in. And then there's a pumice wheel, and that is where you polish out everything else.
So these pieces are purchased that size. I mean, that shape.
Yeah. And
That's
also,
poured that way.
yeah. And also I use the beveling machine to polish out. I'm sure you can see on this, I've got it just about done except where I've put marks. And it's where I found little scratches in the glass. And we buff all of our scratches and chips out. We really try to get it, I guess, as perfect as you can. But this glass scratch is easy, so when I'm cutting it, I need to keep brushing off my table and my grinder, and still sometimes you get a little scratching. So that's next on this. I'm going to pull those scratches right back out.
These commission pieces right here
No, none of these are commissioned. These we're going to send Drew off next week to Ann Arbor, Michigan. I think that's where he's going. So these are pieces we hope he sells at the show. The 3 panels on that table behind you, It's going to be a fire screen. He designed, every year he tries to come up with something different, and this year in January, he decided to see if we couldn't do a fire screen. And this is the third one we've made. We've sold 2 and have an order for 1. We built a fire that you couldn't even stay in the room with and put this in front of it for a whole evening. It did not hurt the glass at all. The only thing it does do is the metal gets very hot, so you wouldn't want to go pick up your screen. You know, just with your hands, the glass did great. It didn't break or crack, fracture, anything like that. And it looks really pretty, especially, well, we try to use clear so you can see the fire through it. And then the summertime gives you a decorative piece in front of your fireplace. So that's what that is. It kind of goes around like that.
Oh, this is a special glass then.
No, it's just the regular glass we use in all of our windows. You can once your glass is tempered, it's really hard, almost impossible to cut. So this is just regular decorative glass. The colors are put in it when it's in a molten stage in the fire, so they will never fade. It's not like it has been painted or colored. This is the color the glass is. The texture is put in. To get the texture, they take the molten glass before it gets hard and put it over. Like if you look in the texture, the border of the fire screen, you'll see leaves. That's laid on something, and then it hardens. Put that on like a mold. You're free to walk around. I'd be glad to answer questions. When you go in the next, there's a little room. To the right is, we save all of our patterns. So if somebody says, well, I saw a flower at one show you were at, I'd really like a hummingbird with it, then we can go there and pull the different patterns people have seen and put new things together, which without totally having to draw a new bird. And then to the left, you'll see a beveling machine. And then in the next room is also where we cut glass. At times there's been a few of us working right now anymore. It's just Drew and I. But you're welcome to look at what we have in progress.
This is a piece that was done that Drew did for Randy Travis, and let me show it to you. This was done for his house in where's his house that this one is at?
Ashland City.
This is Ashland City, and they also have a house in Maui, and they wanted the house in Ashland City to sort of have the same kind of a background or whatever it is in Maui, so they did this one for the Ashland City one like that, and so they did all these banana leaves, and this is the actual.
His wife took pictures out there, window at Maui, and then brought us the pictures. And here sits a hot tub and a great big fountain. It's over, a waterfall. It's over here, so that she can feel like she's in Hawaii when she's in Tennessee. If you can.
And then they did
you can afford it.
They did a western scene, I think, for the one in Maui.
Yeah.
And
We got
western
Southwest.
But he does a lot of speculation pieces, but he also does a lot of commission work. There's a church in Cookville that he's done a piece. When we go, if we go there on Friday, I'll point that out to you. But he does beautiful work. If you want to, we can go in here. Are there any other pieces in progress?
Yeah, I got the bridges. I'm gonna take a shortcut. But if you just want to follow through there, I haven't got myself like that. There's some other works in progress.
Here's the beveling machine.
And then, I guess maybe 4 years ago, this is what I got. I was saying that goes to the house in Smithville. This goes to Maryland. She has an old house, and it's in a part of Frederick where the old houses are restricted in what you can and can't do. And so she's going to use these as window treatments. And then this is the door that goes with those side lights. We can put glass in people's doors.
He takes Coke bottles, you see the Coke bottles up here, and he splits it in half, and then when you see the picture, it's like she's actually drinking Coke.
We cut a piece of glass that looks like Coke, solder it into the bottle, solder the bottle to the window, and then put the other half of the bottle back on.
It's the Coke girl with a three-dimensional Coke.